The right wing perpetuated that in schools cat litter was held because people started identifying as cats. What they didn't tell you is, first of all, that was not true. And the only case that it ever was in Columbine because of school shooters, because they might be in their class for too long to use the washroom. What is the cost of lies? It's perpetuated that detransitioning is a common occurrence when a study shows that 13.1% of individuals that transition in fact detransitioned. And of that 13.1%, 82.5% is because of external factors like non-affirming families, school environments, violence, including sexual assault. When gay marriage was finally legalized, not only did hate towards gay individuals decrease, as well as physical violence, but the population increased. And at that time, people said it was a trend and people were jumping on the bandwagon of hype. But it's because people were able to be visible and not be physically assaulted anymore. And it was all of a sudden publicly acceptable. When you set these laws, it sets a precedent, and that precedent is seen by everyone around those individuals, further exasperating minorities and further restricting visibility. So when it was legalized, of course, people started coming out as gay. There was a massive increase for a few years, and then what happened? It plateaued. So when visibility is a common occurrence, are we indoctrinating kids for simply existing or for drag shows? No, we are not. If you want to have a conversation about those who indoctrinate children, talk to the churches and the Christian schools. It's perpetuated that trans individuals can walk into a clinic, get themselves some estrogen, and walk out, when in fact it needs parental consent, obviously consent of the patient. It needs a doctor to diagnose the individual with transgenderism, which is a lengthy process. It is expensive. You can't just walk in. It takes a few months to do it, and then you have to be paying out your pocket. And even if individuals of youth are diagnosed with transgenderism, they are given puberty blockers, which can be stopped at any time, meaning they can go through their puberty that they were born to attain without any consequences if they decide to down the road. It is something to give them that option down the road when they are old enough, with parental consent and consent of a doctor. What the fuck are you talking about? Let me introduce you to Henry Brousseau.
Unfortunately for me and other trans kids, going to the bathroom can be a scary experience. Even though I've been living as a male for some time, I've been accepted by my friends and family as a male, I was being forced to use the girls' bathroom at my school until very recently. Because the school administration did not support my gender identity by letting me use the restrooms concordant with my gender identity, the kids on my school bullied me. The kids thought that because the administration didn't support my gender identity, they didn't have to either, and that they could get away with bullying me. Nearly 9 in 10 trans kids are verbally bullied at school, and more than half of us have been physically assaulted. Too often that happens in bathrooms when we are forced to use a bathroom that doesn't match our gender identity. When I use the boys' room, there's no problem. When I have to use the girls' room, I was constantly harassed and picked on. A lot of folks think that having a separate and private restroom for trans kids is the way to go. While that might work for some, when somebody tells us that we're so different that the only way to accommodate us is to create a special restroom, the message is clear, that we don't belong.
They committed suicide recently because of public scrutiny and hate. If trans individuals aren't able to get the support they need and the medication they need, there will be an uprising in not only suicides, but physical assault, mental abuse. It won't stop there. By creating these laws, you create a precedent. It's important that we look at our histories, that we look at other countries as well, and reflect on what we're doing and what's happened in the past in Germany. Is that a big accusation? Yeah, it is. And it breaks my heart to say it. Am I calling people Nazis? Not really, not yet. Are we on the path to a lot of destruction and a lot of pain that doesn't need to be there? Yeah, we are. You can't have freedom while trying to take the freedoms of those around you. It doesn't work that way. You have to be willing to stand beside your brethren in your country and not buy into the rhetoric pushed to you by media and corporates. That's it for this video.